My name is Lynn Yance, and I'm the Chief Charitable Giving Officer at the Community Foundation of Greater Des Moines. We're so grateful that you took time to join us today for our first Donor Connect. We host these Donor Connect events as part of our mission at the Community Foundation to connect donors to causes they care about. And today's event is going to focus on the grant recipients of our Community Foundation's Better Together Fund. You'll also have the opportunity to participate in another session tomorrow. The link you received for this session, you'll be able to participate in part 2 of this tomorrow. So with that, I am excited to introduce to you Angie Detlefs-Trenton, our Chief Community Impact Officer, who's going to lead our discussion today. Angie.
Thanks so much, Lynn. Good afternoon, everyone. I am very excited to spend some time with you all today highlighting the work of the Better Together Fund as part of this Grantee Spotlight series. First, as we begin today, I want to provide just a little bit of context for you as to what the Better Together Fund is and what it's all about in our community. So the Better Together Fund was really created as an opportunity for everyone who loves Greater Des Moines, whether they live here or have lived here or have some affinity to this place, as a way to really provide and invest in our community's promising opportunities, important initiatives, ideas, and needs, both for today, but also for tomorrow. So simply put, the Better Together Fund is really like the community savings account. And it's overseen by a grant-making committee, which includes not only members of the Community Foundation's Board of Directors, but also community leaders and other funder colleagues, so that we can continuously ensure that we have our pulse and a broad understanding of what is facing the Greater Des Moines region as we consider investments. So as much as I would sometimes like to wish that I have a crystal ball and know what tomorrow will bring, I certainly don't, and have yet to find somebody who does in terms of predicting the future that we'll see. But that's where the Better Together Fund comes in. It's a place where individuals and families and businesses can all contribute, ensuring that the funding will be ready to support things that will be facing, our community will be facing, whether it's a capital project or a program or some collective response that we know will make our community's quality of life even greater here in Greater Des Moines. So on behalf of the grant recipients that you'll hear from today, the Community Foundation's board and staff and all of the nonprofit organizations that we touch throughout Central Iowa, thank you to those who contributed to the Better Together Fund and for those that have plans to do so as part of their legacy giving as well. I really think that the Better Together Fund is an example of our community at its finest. And speaking of community at its finest, in 2022, we were truly honored to come alongside some incredible visionary projects and leaders that are going to provide some significant impact in Greater Des Moines. As Lynn mentioned, today we're going to be highlighting some of those leadership grant recipients today. And for those of you who are able, we'd love to invite you back tomorrow to hear from 3 additional grant recipients to learn more about the projects and the impacts that they imagine in our community. So today we're going to spend some time with Sophia Ahmad with WesleyLife, representing the Meals on Wheels program, and also Aaron Hoffman, who's with the Des Moines Regional Transit Authority, or better known as DART in our community. In 2022, we did provide grant funds to both of these organizations for projects, and we're going to start off this afternoon with a brief highlight of what that investment might do for our region. And I'm going to invite Sophia to join us first here on screen and share a little bit about what's really exciting about the WesleyLife Meals on Wheels program. And we're just so excited to have been able to be a part of it, Sophia. And I'm going to turn it over to you to give an overview of what this will mean for Greater Des Moines.
Thank you so much, Angie. Thank you so much, Lynn, and to the Community Foundation for inviting us to be here today. As Angie said, I'm Sophia Ahmad. I'm pleased to serve as Vice President of Philanthropy with WesleyLife and WesleyLife Foundation. And I'd like to reiterate what Angie said, thanking all of the donors on the call who have contributed to the Better Together Fund to support these really important grant programs, to support these important community initiatives and projects. We could not have been where we are without the Community Foundation support and without your support. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts, because it's enabling us to serve our clients like Miss Barbara that you see behind me and on our screen today. So before I provide a little bit of context about the capital project that the Community Foundation funded, I'm going to just share with you very, very high level briefly about Meals on Wheels and the program to provide a little bit of context as to why this project was so important and so needed. So you may be familiar with Meals on Wheels and the concept of it. WesleyLife Community Services has operated Meals on Wheels for around 15 years in the Sherman Hill neighborhood. We currently deliver 1,000 hot, nutritious meals per day to vulnerable older adults and veterans of all ages in central Iowa. So this capital project that we'll be talking about serves three very critical needs of older adults and military veterans. So number one, food insecurity. Such a big issue for our nation and also our community. We are able to meet nutritional needs and ease financial burden by decreasing food costs for individuals who are clients of ours in this program. Oftentimes, they're not able to prepare their own food, they're immobile, and so they wouldn't be able to say go to a food pantry to pick up food because they can't get there, nor could they prepare it. And sometimes they have special dietary needs, and we're able to accommodate those. Social isolation, we provide a wellness and safety check with each of our drivers that delivers a hot, nutritious meal to the home. So we ring the doorbell, we spend some time with them, and we provide a friendly smile and a wellness check-in because actually 69% of our clients live alone, and our driver is perhaps the only person they may see during the day. Wellness, our program reduces hospitalization by as much as 39% because we're able to provide nutritional value. And since 2016, 3 to 7 lives annually have been saved by the safety and wellness checks that our drivers provide through Meals on Wheels. So while we're providing this service, we still know that the need in our community is growing. We have 9,000 older adults who are food insecure. 75% of our clients live at or below the poverty level. We're busting at the seams at our current facility. We don't have a dishwasher. Can you imagine preparing 1,000 meals without a dishwasher? We don't have a proper garbage disposal. And so we knew that we needed to do something different. So the goals of this new building that you see on your screen include to expand a commercial kitchen to triple our meal capacity from 1,000 to 3,000 meals a day to meet our growing community need. Increase the nutritional value of the meals by constructing an indoor vertical garden to grow fresh produce throughout the year, primarily leafy greens, so we can have more plant-based options to provide that nutritional value. And then also decrease social isolation through multi-generational programming, which will be on the top level in partnership with Drake University and other community partners. It's worth noting that this building, it's not a new building. It was actually the Drake University former School of Education building. And so we're excited to see it repurposed right here in the heart of Des Moines. So that's a little bit about our project.
I love it, Sophia. Every time you remind me, and I'm grateful for the staff on your team who do, you remind me of the importance of those wellness checks. And when we think about, it is truly not just delivering a meal, but being able to, on an annual basis, save between 3 and 7 lives because of that wellness check, I just think is such an important and powerful personal relationship that you build. But also just hearing about the capacity scope, moving from 1,000 meals to 3,000 meals, and also that, the individuals that you serve, not only older adults in our community, but also the vast number of veterans that you're able to serve as well. And you're continuing innovation around multi-generational work. I think it's really exciting and a beautiful rendition of this space. And we're grateful to have been a part of helping to bring this to life for our community. So thank you, Sophia, for the first overview of the grant investment. I'm going to ask Erin to come on and share a little bit more about the project that we were fortunate to come alongside as well, the really visionary project that DART is bringing to our community. And Erin, I'm going to have you give an overview and then we'll have a broader conversation.
Well, thank you, Angie, Lynn, and the Community Foundation of Greater Des Moines, and really everyone who has donated to the Better Together Fund. I'm so pleased to be here to represent DART and talk about some of the things that we are doing. Hopefully, those of you who are joining in today are familiar with DART. We are the region's public transportation provider. And at DART, we really believe that public transportation is a social and economic equalizer. We know from the United Way of Central Iowa that approximately 1/3 or more of Central Iowans are not financially self-sufficient. We know from our own data at DART that about 61% of our riders do not have a valid driver's license or do not have a working vehicle in their household. We also know that about 43% of the individuals who utilize DART have an annual household income of less than $20,000. So for low-income Iowans, accessing essential services, jobs, and educational opportunities really requires affordable transportation. And that is, those are just some of the reasons why DART is piloting an on-demand service in the 50314 area code. So this is a neighborhood that has the lowest income in Polk County, with more than 1/3 of households living below the poverty line. And our hope is that by offering an affordable, on-demand, door-to-door service, we can eliminate transportation as a barrier, and in doing so, improve access to jobs and other essential services that could ultimately help people, help put people on a path to financial self-sufficiency. If you are familiar with Uber or Lyft, DART on Demand is very similar, except that we can put some different parameters around the service and where it's available and when it's available. So as you can see, this service from a geographical standpoint is really limited to the 50314 area code, because that is the residents that we're looking to serve. And then based on the funding that we have received to date from generous partners like the Community Foundation, the Principal Financial Group Foundation, Mid-Iowa Health Foundation, and the Iowa Department of Transportation, we're able to offer this on-demand service right now, Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And this really means that anyone who is in the 50314 area code can use our DART On Demand app or can call DART customer service to book a trip starting and ending within this zone anytime Monday through Friday between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. And we know that people also need to travel outside of this neighborhood. And so one of the things I think that's important to note is we do offer several fixed route bus lines that go through this neighborhood. And so one way that we anticipate a lot of residents will be able to use the service is to get from their home or their workplace directly to a bus stop where they can connect all throughout the region. And one thing that's really unique about this service is that it's very scalable. So the more funding we have, the more service we can provide. It's really important to us at DART to really understand the transportation needs of those we're trying to serve. And so we have done a lot of public outreach and talking with residents in this neighborhood. And we know they're really excited about the service. We also know there is a desire for more evening and weekend service. And so if we are able to raise more money, we will definitely aspire to add additional hours of service to serve those in this area.
That's great, Erin. One of the things too, for those who aren't as familiar with DART, I love how you framed it as DART is really sort of understands the value of social and economic equalizer. And I'll just say too, on behalf of the Community Foundation, we have so many wonderful, innovative partners in our region. And I think one of the things that I'd love folks on the call to understand about DART is your true and genuine commitment to understanding data, and maybe even more importantly, understanding the value of voice and how you identify places to sort of stretch your muscle, lean into new and innovative solutions. And I think that's one of the things that was really exciting for the Community Foundation to consider an investment in a pilot like this, because of how it might be able to help our community understand even more about strong solutions and evolving solutions to address some transportation barriers for neighbors who simply need to get places, and we need them to have the right transportation at the right time. So I wanted to say that and certainly express our appreciation, and always exciting to see sort of your work come to light, and this is a great example of that. So I'm going to invite Sophia to join us here, and we're going to have as much of a conversation as we can have over a webinar here, but hopefully you all have your lunch in front of you or a good cup of coffee, and can certainly get the energy that these two individuals and their organizations bring to work. I just think these are powerful examples, and much like the investments of the Community Foundation through our Better Together Fund, it's really about more than the singular organization or the singular project. And I think that's what gets me really excited. and also bringing two organizations that have wheels together for a conversation, jokingly, but also seriously, about really how you're kind of helping to move things forward in our community in a really intentional way. So Erin, maybe just an initial reflection question for you. In the most physical sense of the word, this pilot really is about a transit option that was identified because of some innovative thinkers, and they weren't all thinkers who are transportation experts, if I recall correctly, right? These are individuals in neighborhoods. So you can talk a little bit about how that is so, or how DART uses that information and why it is so important for you to think about transit solutions in a broad sense?
Yes. So a lot of people don't think of transportation or public transportation as being a dynamic and innovative industry. And I can tell you it really is. There's been a lot of innovation that's happened in the last decade or so. That is exciting for us because it means that there are more ways than ever for us to look at how do we really help get people where they need to go. And it's important that we really work with our community and the people we're serving and others in the community who are serving these folks as well to really understand what the needs are. So this particular pilot for an on-demand zone in the 50314 area code was really inspired by the results that came about through a transportation gaps analysis that was conducted in 2019 and 2020. It was actually funded in part by the Community Foundation. So thank you again, as well as the United Way of Central Iowa, Mid-Iowa Health Foundation, and several others, as well as DART. And the goal of the gaps analysis was really to help understand, what are those transportation barriers for individuals like new Iowans, seniors, single moms, returning citizens, folks who are just asset limited and income constrained. And through that process, we learned there were over 1,200 people that participated in an online and phone survey. And a majority did say that transportation was a frequent problem. And some of the barriers they highlighted were convenience, cost, and reliability. When asked to rank possible solutions, quick and easy on-demand scheduling was the top ranked solution. And so that's really sort of the inspiration behind how we came to develop the proposal for an on-demand service in this neighborhood. And we're just really excited about the opportunity to learn how improving access to affordable transportation will hopefully help improve people's quality of life and ultimately their financial self-sufficiency.
Yeah, well, and I love the framing that you used around helping people understand, especially working individuals in our community who are asset limited and income constrained, but use a lot of the transportation. I think you said 60-some%, Erin, I did jot it down, who are really using the transportation for getting to work and getting to school and to really operating their daily lives as incredibly powerful members of our community and important and critical members of our community. But when I thought about your frame of asset limited, income constrained, I also was thinking a lot about sort of the value of the program Sophia with Meals on Wheels. For some individuals, veterans as an example, like the people that you're serving, this is just an added resource for them to live their healthiest and best lives in our community. I'm curious about, similarly to how DART used individual feedback and information, how does WesleyLife and the Meals on Wheels program really think about the individual impact as you were evolving your programming to this new incredible community build?
Yes. Well, thank you for that question. And primarily too, we received a lot of feedback from clients who were in need of services that we weren't able to accommodate. During the pandemic, we really maxed out as to what we could do with serving meals to individuals. And of course, the poverty levels changed during the pandemic. More and more people were food insecure at that point. And so that really started to set the ball in motion. We're so fortunate to work with a fantastic group of volunteers and community leaders that also, alongside of us, identified this as an important community need that would ultimately help us change the trajectory of food insecurity in a really nuanced way for individuals who couldn't receive it. What's really eye-opening, I think, and remarkable about meeting the nutritional needs of individuals that we serve through this program, this could be the last thing that they need, the last support that they need to be able to live independently. So if they don't receive nutrition at home, their next choice is institutionalized care or, leaving their home, which we know is not best for them, which we know is not economically beneficial for our community. And so we're so pleased to do this. Angie, you were asking a little bit earlier too about the social connection piece of it. And we talked a little bit earlier about how we decrease social isolation. Social isolation, it's not just important just for how we feel, but there's significant health benefits to ensuring that the isolation decreases. So there's a stat out there that one of our tri-chairs for this So Much More Than Meals campaign always cites, and that's social isolation is akin to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. So it has the same detriment to somebody because they don't have anybody to talk to, they don't see anybody during the day. And yet if we can provide this service and this value to them, they do have that interaction, and it helps them stay healthier and in their homes longer, which is very much in alignment with our Wesley Life mission as well.
Well, yeah, and the social isolation or just that connectedness, not only that the Meals on Wheels program brings like within a home or within someone's place of residence, but also thinking about sort of that in the context of the DART pilot as well, Erin, the idea that you truly are connecting people from point A to point B to get the resources that they need. And it is kind of exciting to think about what we can all learn from these approaches, and we'll be really anxious to watch the work of the pilot, but also to hear more about the impact of the 3,000 meals that Wesley creates, hopefully daily, right, within this new space.
Yeah.
Triple capacity, and we're really grateful, as a side note, to have the addition of a dishwasher for your staff and volunteers. So.
Oh my gosh. And the garbage disposal. Can you imagine? Oh my gosh.
Should not have forgotten garbage disposal. That's terrible. So one thing that we always talk with nonprofit partners about, and both of you kind of referenced it in your notes or in your comments, this is an application process through the Community Foundation. And one of the things that we're really focused on is connecting or supporting projects that are really identified through community needs assessments or regional plans or priorities. For those on the call, we as a staff team and a committee review 20 regional plans every single year to make sure that we're not making up where powerful places are to invest, but rather we're doing exactly what these two organizations are suggesting. We're investing and creating opportunities in places that people have already said in our community are critically important. I'm curious, and I'll just toss it to either one, whoever wants to take over. When you think about the broader impact of your projects and programs, what would you specifically want our community donors and leaders to understand about how these initiatives are connecting to our community goals? What reflections do you have on that?
Yeah.
I can jump in, and I will just say I've really enjoyed learning about the work, Sophia, that you're doing at WesleyLife, and there's just so many connections between what you're doing and what we're doing at DART and who we serve. And as we think about, we both kind of work in that mobility space and have talked about the importance of mobility and what the lack of mobility can cause, from social isolation to maybe not being able to get that job that could put someone on a better financial path. And so what we're really looking to learn more about is how, someone's geographic mobility can be linked to their economic mobility. And so understanding if we can provide better access, that people can afford, what does that do to their ability to achieve financial self-sufficiency and that upward economic mobility?
Well, so many regional plans have elevated sort of the critical importance of that for our growing region and for growing and diverse populations. I think that'll be a really important data point and really good learning for our community, Erin, to understand even more deeply what that means, whether it's things like the opportunity plan that our colleagues at United Way help lead for our region, the One Economy plan for the state of Black Polk County, Capital Crossroads, you could go on and on. But I think that's a really powerful sort of reflection and important for us all to think about. Sophia, I know your brains, I can see your wheels turning. What sort of insight do you have?
Yeah, well, likewise, Erin, the zip codes that you were mentioning and talking about too, we have the highest concentration of our clients that are on free or reduced cost meals in those areas as well. And so we too see that as an economic support to be able to enable them to live independently, to live their best lives. And no doubt that family members of theirs and others will be touched and their lives improved by this new DART pilot program, which is really exciting as well. We really, food insecurity is such a universal need and topic, especially coming out of the pandemic. If you look at Capital Crossroads, certainly the human capital portion of it that talks about food insecurity, but also the wellness capital portion that talks about mental health and well-being. These programs and the areas that we're able to serve really tie in nicely and closely to them. The other thing that's worth mentioning that's sort of more broad is that we have a large population of boomers that are approaching this age that and they're outliving their resources. They're expending their resources because they're living on average 30 years longer. Can you imagine that, an extra 30 years that they're not anticipating that they're living? And the individuals who are outliving women are outliving men. And so imagine a centenarian who's living to be 104, who anticipated she needed to save enough resources until she was 80. We want them to live healthy, long lives. And this is just another way that we can serve that need. But at WesleyLife, we're really thinking hard and planning ahead and strategically at least 10, 15, 20 years ahead to see what does this trajectory look like, because if we can get ahead of it, we're going to be able to meet the need in a really sustainable, meaningful way. And this project is one step forward in that direction so that we're not in a crisis mode and then sort of figuring out what to do, but we're able to serve our community and, the emerging needs of our community and our makeup of our community and demographics and to do that proactively.
I love that. I just am so appreciative of how your organization see the interweavings of how really everything does come together. And I know we say it all the time, but it really is a better together mantra, right? It takes all of us and our innovative thinking. And I, for one, and certainly the entire Community Foundation staff team and board and donors are really appreciative to both of you and your organization's commitment to this work and the learning. I love this. I love, what are we going to learn and how can we continue to make our community even better? We often say that philanthropy or giving is just one piece of an equation. And it's really, these projects on the ground that take funding and put it into action and make change and exciting impacting community. Can't wait to learn more about your work in the months to come. And a special thank you again to the donors, the Better Together Fund. You are making projects like this possible, coming together alongside projects just like this. And we are really on to help facilitate that giving to community needs as well. So thank you for being part of the Community Foundation in that work. So you saw in the invitation to today's session, the idea of turning a transportation challenge into a transit solution, cultivating connections through food and friendship. These are just a few of the phrases that really captured the impact of the Better Together Fund in 2022. Thank you so much again for sharing so much about these inspiring stories. I'm going to ask Barb to put up a visual here of upcoming sessions that you are certainly all invited to as part of the Community Foundation. We have, again, another Spotlight series tomorrow, same time, same link, but with new faces, 3 new projects that we were going to highlight for tomorrow. So we certainly hope that you can join us to hear more about those inspiring projects as well and the potential that they present to our community. Again, we truly believe that we're better together and are so honored to have been able to be a part of these projects over this past year and look forward to what's to come. So thanks again, Sophia. Thanks, Erin. And thanks to all of you for joining us. We'll hopefully see you back here tomorrow. Have a great day.